Good God. Oh my goodness. Lord. Jesus. Jesus. What the fuck is that? My 8-ball? Lord, come on. Man, whatever this is. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. It's your host, Jameer Chapman, and this is the Selfisinfinite podcast. I appreciate y'all tuning in today. It's a beautiful day today. It's been a couple of beautiful days the last couple of days. Not as if every day isn't a beautiful day, but the weather's been getting tremendously better. We're here today. We've been gone for a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks now. I've been real busy lately, I ain't gonna lie. And then the weekend, a couple weekends ago, I was supposed to have a guest, and the guest didn't come through, so it kind of set me back a little bit. But I just came back from New York a couple days ago. I went for New York Fashion Week. I wasn't even going to go, honestly. But I went last minute on a little last minute trip. I had some fashion shows to shoot out there, a little market as well too. That weather was not sweet at all. It was very windy. It was snowing. It was cold as shit. I don't think I'll go back in February. I mean, I can handle some cold, and I've been talking all this shit about handling some cold, but actually I lied. No, that shit was something else. That shit was nothing to play with for real. But overall, I enjoyed my experience, and I wanted to do a podcast out there, but I couldn't. But the main thing, the reason I wanted to do my podcast while I was in New York or while I was at the airport or just while I'm traveling, because I'm always traveling and I'm always creating these amazing experiences for myself. And that's something I want to embrace, through my platform, through my podcast, through the things that I do, the things that I share. Is like, live your life to the fullest, like live for a living. One of the worst questions that I hate hearing is like, what do you do for a living? It's like, I could say what I do, things that I do, like, yeah, I work a job or I do a podcast, but at the same time, I don't do none of that for a living. I live for a living. I like to experience life for a living, and I think we all want to experience life. Like, we want to feel a freshness, like an authenticity within life. And that's why we travel. That's why we go to places, because we're tired of the constant cycles that we're in within the places that we stay within our work, 9 to 5, or the things that we're doing every day. That's like a certain cycle. I heard my friend the other day say, I'm tired of doing the same thing every day. And it's like, well, do something new, switch it up. Like, go take yourself on a date, go take yourself out to the park, go take yourself on a trip, go travel this world, because it can get very tiring just doing the same thing every day. It can start to feel really mundane, and I think it's why it's important to travel, like, and I know not having the money is a thing, or not having the time, quote unquote, but fuck that shit, man. You gotta make it. It's so, like, easy for me to say fuck that, or easy for me to be like, nah, fuck the money, and I get it. People have these real situations where they can't just spend their money, or they're not just so freely. Like, I have different privileges that allow me to move the way I want to move, but also before I had those privileges, I was just saying, fuck it, I'm going. Like, my first trip I took out of the country, to Chile, I was met with immediate pushback within my mind, like, what am I doing? I'm not capable of going out the country. I don't have the money to do this. Who do I think I am? Just all these inferior thoughts flooding my mind. And I still fell through with going on the trip. And after coming back, that was just a testament to, or it made me realize, like, I'm capable of doing whatever I want to do. I deserve to go wherever I want to go. I had to think about those things, or I had to, my mind changed after going on that trip and coming back and realizing how important it is to get outside of this fucking shitty ass European country that we're trying to make the best out of. For so long, all our ancestors, my parents, they tried to make the best out of the situation that they've been given. And, like, at the lowest level or a higher level, whichever you want to say, I feel like we're making the best out of our situation that we've been given within this experience of life, period. But I feel like, to a degree, with being black or being a part of the minority, we have to deal with just kind of picking up on the minimum scraps we can get. Or, for example, instead of going on a trip, we can smoke weed every day and be content. Some people, not me, but some people can smoke weed, and that could be the temporary vacation. I don't know who's seen that song, but, like, that's real shit. Like, just smoking weed every day, or just doing drugs, or having these small little I don't know the word I want to say, but just these small little, like, things that you can do, like just going and spend a whole bunch of money at the mall, or eating a whole bunch of bullshit desserts. It's like these small little dopamine things that kind of help us feel, I guess, better about a situation instead of like going bigger. Like, I feel like we're so limited, or we've been so limited as being just, as minorities and black people within a European fucking country, within a place where we don't have the equal opportunities to get jobs, to get all this money, where we don't have that same education, or that same fucking money that's been passed down from generation to generation. We don't have that luxury that white people have, to just think big. So yeah, I've been a little busy the last few weeks, but we back now. I'm really happy to be back. I've been having a lot on my mind lately. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. A lot of thoughts, a lot of things I've been writing down over the course of 2 weeks. I've been fasting as well too. I've been participating in Ramadan. This year, I'm going no food, no water. I think last year I was drinking water throughout the day, but this year I'm just cold turkey, just nothing, fasting, everything. Also, I'm trying to stop cussing. I've cut out smoking again, or at least I'm trying to cut out smoking again. So yeah, a lot of change being made. I feel like I feel like with Ramadan, it's a perfect time for you to kind of reflect and come back to yourself and remember like who you are, your purpose, your goals and things of that nature. I feel like it's important, like we have moments where we can just kind of come back to self, because we're always constantly moving, working, partying, fucking smoking weed every day, our chronic addictions, this, that, and the third, and not enough time to just sit with ourselves, and just be, and just breathe, and just think about our next steps, or think about what we're really doing, because we're doing so much of nothing each and every day, and it brings me to like the idea of like the self, and sometimes like last night or some nights, like every now and then I'll run into these like moments of just thought of like my existence, like what am I doing, like what's going on, like all these things that I'm doing every day. Like sometimes I lose motivation. Like today I really didn't want to come today, but I'm here because I have to remember as well too, like I have to remain present within life, because it's so easy to get caught up in your mind, and your thoughts can swirl and existence is a lot to handle. Just being here and present alone is just a lot and very overwhelming sometimes. And it's so easy to just tune it out by just looking at your phone or calling somebody when you're feeling alone, and I do it too all the time. But I just feel like it's important to embrace the present moments you have, embrace those thoughts as well you do have about your mortality, about life, about existence, because these are questions that you're going to have your whole life. I remember my first moment of like questioning mortality, like I was like, I don't know, maybe like 11 years old, or I don't know how old I was, but I was riding my mom's car and I just had a thought in my mind. I don't know what placed this thought or planted this thought into my mind, but I was just like, okay, because I never grew up with set a religion, like no Christianity, or my grandfather was Muslim and my grandmother was Christian, and after they had their kids and whatnot, they kind of just decided to just not force religion onto their kids. They still practice certain parts within the religion, and we still go to church from time to time, or my grandfather would still do a Ramadan, but it just felt as if like religion is not, you don't have to improv yourself in religion to be one with God, or the universe, or have that connection with your source. So just one day I had a thought of like, so there's God, but like, who is God's dad? And I'm like, wait, who is God's dad? Who is his grandfather? Who is his great? So it just kind of went spiral, and like that moment I just like lost my mind, and it was just like I started crying like, Mom, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Just the whole mortality thing, I feel like it's very scary, and I feel like it still sticks with me today. Certain moments I find myself thinking about my existence, and I think to help aid that is me getting closer to my God, getting closer to the universe, getting closer to the world around me, because it doesn't have to always be like a question, or it doesn't have to be such a thing to where I'm just so hopeless and just don't know it all, but it also could be a thing to where I don't know and I'm fine with that, and I'm just fine being present within life and just my existence, bathing in my essence, within the present moment, all these experiences that I've been blessed to give or blessed to partake in. It's easy to just think about all these things, starting things that I cannot control. You know, even just in my day-to-day life, you know, everybody around me wanting them to have a better situation or wanting things to be better in the world. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, y'all. I don't know why that was doing that. It was really bothering me. Make sure my shit good. Okay, yeah. Like I was saying though, yeah, I don't even remember what I was saying. Yeah, mortality, things of that nature. Yeah, it just gets wicked. It gets a little scary, but I think it's important to just control the things that you can control. You know, control your reality, control your experience, and that's why I think it's so important to live your life to the fullest, so you can, you know, get the most out of this experience. More so, like, it's important to live your life because if I'm not living, then I'm just existing. And, you know, I don't think you should be just existing here. We should all be living, you know, moving and, you know, partaking in our endeavors and things we want to experience in this life and our desires, things of that nature. I feel like, honestly, like with all the questions and conspiracies and cultic knowledge that we all want to learn or to know more about, I think it's important to read books. I feel like with books, you get perspectives that you may have never thought of before, as well as people that you can connect with, you know, that can see what you've been thinking, you know, or that can articulate some of your thoughts in your head a bit better. I feel like it's easy to just come on a YouTube video now or just fucking ask ChatGPT, but you want to get the base level of information that you can be getting within a book. Even like from a degree, I like me reading my textbooks in class, like versus the PowerPoint. There's so much more in a textbook, you know, within a book rather than just what somebody within just the PowerPoint, you know, just the little summary, you know. And I don't know. I feel like it's just like reading is becoming a lost art, a lost fucking thing that needs to be fucking embraced and picked the fuck back up, especially when at the times now with ChatGPT and with the rates of fucking children not being able to read, the critical thinking is being lost as well too, you know. And I think it's important that we critically think, that we read book, you know, that we question ourselves in the world around us. You know, it's so easy to just go based on to continue off of what you already been told or what your parents have told you and given you. But I feel like I think Terrence Howard just said something so powerful the other day recently I listened to. He said something to the degree of like, until you step out of that zone of just what have you been told and start thinking for yourself and questioning things for yourself, you're not truly living. And I agree 100% with that. If you're just going with what somebody been telling you, or somebody just giving you all this advice, don't even know what the hell that you want to do, and you just taking it, or just going within religion just to, like I heard somebody tell me that they the only reason they're Christian is because they scared of the devil. Not one time in their life have they ever met the devil. At one time in their life have they ever really thought critically about what is the devil. The devil is just okay. I feel like that's not okay. That's not a good reason to be in religion, because you're scared of a entity that you've never seen in your life. Maybe that lady had an experience with the devil, but I just feel like there's a lot of fear mongering that move people into just believing the norm, or to make people feel indifferent for thinking different, you know, for thinking more critically, you know, such as what is the self. And I feel like when you think about yourself, that's different for everybody. Is it the self that is speaking right now? Is it the self that has all these thoughts in my mind? Is it is the self located, like, is it all of me? You know, because at the same time, this is my body, and I'm the driving force of my body, you know. So like, it's just like different. I don't know. You can think so deep into that, you know, like, what is this existence? You know, what the fuck is going on? Because this shit gets crazy. It's not just normal. This shit not just, you know, yeah, we keep going about our day every day. Yeah, I think about it and just keep it pushing. Yeah, it's like whatever. But at the same time, I always come back to, what am I? Who am I? What is this? You know, and I'm doing the work every day. You know, I'm reading and I'm journaling each and every day. I'm trying to get close to myself. I talk to the trees from time to time. You know, I sit outside and I let the downloads come into my mind. I try to keep my eyes, my ears open, you know, my mind open, you know. But I guess it's important to why not, just why not want to know what you are and who you are? We're more than just like working these jobs and bullshitting our life away. We're a little cool. We're a little spectrum here on this little plane we call the universe, and I think it's a very interesting question. It's different for everybody. So I've been listening to if you all want to get more into like questions about the self and what is the self, I suggest you listen to Alan Watts. I used to listen to him every day before I would go to class or on my way to class, his lectures. And he would have a lot of, like, just philosophical, like, thought, things to kind of make you question in your mind and yourself. And one of the questions he asks, or he says is, like, if you had a moment with God, like, what would you ask him? And it'd be overwhelming. You wouldn't know what to ask. Or maybe you do know, but, like, you have one question to ask. It's like, what are you going to ask, And I feel like, for me personally, there's no question to ask, Like, I can ask, what is existence? What is all of this? But it is what it is, this just the works, it's just constantly in motion, and I don't need an answer, no matter how I question, what I am, my existence or things of that nature, I'll never truly know, I can never really truly be certain besides that I'm present in this moment. But even that's a philosophical question that a lot of philosophers have tampered with, have partaken in, what does it mean to be present, So there's a lot of different theories and things of that nature, but more so, I think it's just important that we get to know who we are, as individuals and as well as a collective within, get to know the world around us, get to know this universe, That's why it's important, I think, to travel, so you can add and see more parts of yourself within the world around you. So that's just one aspect, one thing I don't know, it's really interesting. I'm doing a lot of traveling lately, and I want to get that going, like, for the rest of this year, I'm being honest. Next month, or January, February, March, April. In April, I might be going back to Vegas or San Diego, I don't know. And then in May, I'm going to Orlando for Rolling Loud, like 2 days after I graduate. So that's going to be really cool. I'm graduating this year as well, too. So I'm doing a lot of big things, but I ain't trying to put too much on my plate either. I feel like college is a real blessing. I feel like college is not for everybody. And also the way college is structured, it can be very facetious. I don't know. That's not the word I want to use. It can be very, like, I don't know. It's not easy because a lot of people, a lot of individuals, within high school, they kind of just finessed a lot of work, and then when you get to college, you got to actually kind of study and whatnot, or kind of get what you want out of your education. And that's a real thing, but also it's kind of hard to kind of like want to read textbooks and kind of get the most out of what I can with all my classes when I have 5 different courses and I have a job outside of that, and then I'm doing all my creative endeavors as well too. And you expect me to read this textbook from all these classes. Like, how am I going to keep up all of that? It's unrealistic. And then college becomes more so about getting a grade rather than getting the information and learning. And like last semester, I had a class, Mind and Brain. I learned about, the hemispheres of the brain, how the brain works to a good degree. And I learned a lot from that class. I failed it. I wasn't going to say that I failed it because I learned so much. And I feel like a lot of that, but if I would have just tried to just finesse it, I would have passed that class, but I wouldn't have received any information from the class. And I feel like that's a real thing. Like, college can become a lot about just trying to pass rather than trying to actually learn. And especially when you're like your parents are forcing you to, you got to get good grades, or if you're trying to be a nurse, or you trying to get them grades. You trying to get the A's and B's. And then some people got parents that get mad when they get B's and shit, So I feel like college is an amazing experience, especially if you can get paid to go to school. I feel like also like college is very costly as well too, and that's why a lot of people don't go. It shouldn't cost that much to get an education at all. You know, education should be free, knowledge should be free, and knowledge needs to stop being gate kept, so we can all kind of prosper and kind of develop within ourselves and the world around us and make this world just a better place overall. Imagine we all got this education. We all go to college and learn a trade or learn a field or just get some more knowledge or things that we never knew. We would have a better, greater scope and a better feel for life. It's cold. Hold on, let me put my jacket on. But yeah, I feel like school should be fun. Knowledge should be fun. Learning should be fun. But I feel like a lot of people are just against school because of just a lot of the ways it's set up, the structure is set up, and I feel like it can be switched up. It can be changed. For example, I think we can have like a 2-to-1 class, not 2-to-1 class, sorry. But what about 3 courses, max, within a semester? That way I can get the most out of my education and actually get the most out of these classes and actually pass as well too. What if that was like a thing? Or I don't know, like not just studying or having lectures in a fucking box all the damn time. That's why I don't like doing my podcast in the room. Today I'm doing it in the room, but I feel like you need an open space, open environment to feel that. That's a real thing. In ways that buildings are shaped is for a reason. There's a reason there's no fucking windows in the classroom, But we need more of that, We need more like freedom. We need to feel more free within that class. I don't want to feel like I'm just a fucking bot in this classroom listening to you speak, Graduating this semester, really excited. I don't know how I got to this point. It seems like life can move so fast, when you're doing so many things, doing so many things at a time. But also I feel like it's how you can lose yourself as well too. And that's why I'm partaking in Ramadan right now, so I can kind of get back to myself, get back to my purpose and see where I'm trying to go, because I'm about to graduate school. And it's kind of going to be like I'm back in the real world again, having to figure out my next steps. When you've been in school has been the best thing for me because it's allowed me to kind of not have to think so much about this, I guess, life shit, as in like having to find a job, having to find a house, having to, some get kicked out. Luckily, I've been blessed to kind of stay with my mother still. My grandparents have the open doors still as well too. But once you graduate, high school, now you're out to the real world. But now I'm graduating, I got college, and now I'm already been in the real world. Now it's like, I'm just here again. What am I doing? And a good degree of me just wants to live, experience, and travel, as well as immerse myself in other cultures. Learn about other cultures. And I feel like with what I'm studying right now, I'm studying anthropology and psychology. Kind of wrap those two things, as well as I'm doing videography too, or photography. I feel like I can wrap all those things to kind of just do the things that I want to do and bring it all together. I have a plan, but at the same time, I like to leave room for things to happen. Because I feel like when you just kind of like, this is what I'm going to do, this is it, this is all I'm going to do, you kind of block out everything. It's just kind of tunnel vision, because there's so many different endless possibilities that can unfold in front of you within your life if you allow it to. But also you don't want to be so open and doing so many different things that you kind of spread yourself kind of thin, because it's easy to do that too. And I've done it before. I feel like you gotta find that balance, in between just kind of doing the things you want to do and do it all, but also at the same time finding that balance, like you don't gotta do everything at once, and everything's not a rush either. But also, I feel like you have a great idea, a beautiful idea. You need to attack it. You need to make that shit happen. Probably like in the last like month or so, like 2 months, like I probably had like 3 to 4 ideas that I wanted to do back probably like a year ago, some time ago. Somebody stole it. I ain't gonna say they stole it, but they're doing it now, and it's like, well, it's what it is. I missed out. So I missed out on the opportunity rather than just stepping into it at that moment. And that's why now when I have thoughts or desires, like I'm working towards it steadily, because I can't let time just pass by, or it's gonna be gone. Somebody else is gonna do it, or I'm just gonna forget about it, or I'm just gonna say fuck it, and life moves fast, and I may just be doing something else, or I might not even care about it anymore, I think that's why, like right now, while we're young, it's important to experience and important to do all the things you want to do, because we won't have that same drive. We want later in life. My dad always kind of mentions that, and maybe we will, but I feel like right now, if now isn't the time, then when is the time? Because the only time we have is now. Only time we have now is only time we have is the present. And the present is a gift. And I think we should really embrace that and really cherish that, and really tap into that, really, really run with that shit. We're young, bro. Ain't no reason to begin, get rid of all that extra baggage, you ain't got to hold all of that weight, And I think it's kind of easier said than done. I'm going to keep going back to having that 9 to 5, because that is the way I feel like a lot of people are getting sick, are sick from their 9 to 5, are sick from the day-to-day of bullshit, of doing nothing all day, of sitting in a desk just doing bullshit work to get a check. Or I even heard somebody recently, like, they have a job where they do nothing and they're sick of that shit because they're sick of just doing nothing at a block of their day to get a paycheck to, and just like it's such a contradiction, such a fucking it's like a moment. It's like I have to work this job, but I want to get paid so I can do the X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, I shouldn't even have to work a job to go and do that. I should be able to go where I want to go. I should be able to live how I want to live. Why is there restrictions on that? But I guess that's just how the way the world works. I guess that's just what it is. But no, fuck that. It's not just the way it is, and I think that's why it's so important to take advantage of your life and don't just take the fucking bare minimum from what we've been given, Cause we've been doing that for so long, and we deserve more, and we have the power, we have the minds, we have the freedom now that our ancestors, people before us, did not have to think bigger. We have the freedom now to do more and to explore this world, and I think we need to take a lot of advantage of that. There's no reason I'm just sitting at home when I could be going and exploring this place or that place, or I shouldn't be just sitting at home bored when I can read this book and get lost in a whole other fucking world, And it's just so easy to just pick up your phone and just scroll or fucking watch Drewski doing some bullshit, or watch Castanet and watch other people live their life when you could be living your own life. Live your life. Ain't nobody stopping you but you. Like, I think it's important. Like, live your life for real. Not for fake, for real. Live your life, Because you're only doing disservice to yourself, you're doing disservice to your ancestors, you're doing disservice to your parents, to people all around you that did what they did for you to get to this point to live your life. Yeah, you may have parents telling you, like, do this or do that, but you gotta say, fuck that. Like, at some point, you gotta say, fuck that. I know some people, like, for example, I have a Muslim friend, like, her parents, were really strict. Like, she's like 23 and she couldn't go out for real or do this, that, and the third. And I know it's different in different cultures and different ways of teaching and parenting and X, Y, and Z. But me as an entity or a conscious being on this planet with free will, I'm not letting anything or anyone stop my free will. Yes, I have morals or different rules set in place, but I shouldn't let shit stop my free will. Point blank. It's free. Welcome back to the Self-Infinite Podcast, y'all. It's your host, Jameer Chapman. I had put my jacket on. It's a little cold. I had to fix my camera, plug it up. It died a little bit, shit like that. I need an assistant. If you want to be my assistant, please reach out to me. I have a million things that I need to do every day, and there's not enough for me to do them all. So, yeah, please reach out to me. Also, we've been getting a lot of requests to get on the podcast, the people that want to hop on, and we're going to be opening up a Google form, or there should be a Google form link in our bio at Self-Infinite, the Self-Infinite Podcast on Instagram, and on my Instagram, graciously, me, I'll be posting a Google form and have one in my bio for people that want to be on the podcast. The way we go about it is more so I just choose individuals that I think are really cool as fuck, that I think have something really bright to say, positive to share, a story worth telling, and people that I just want to know more about, and I think they need to dive deeper into who they are outside of the social media platform, because I feel like social media can be really mundane and can really you don't really know people. Like people, social media is a game. You know, it's not real. You know, I feel like places like this, or when you hear people articulate their voices and talk, you know, you can get a better scope of them. So, there will also be another segment for individuals that just want to come on because I mean everybody is cool as shit. Everybody has a place. Yeah, we're gonna create another segment where we just have like a creator spotlight. We have just different creators, artists, rappers, whatever you do. You know, even if you just want to jump on the pod and talk about your life, you got something to share. We're gonna be creating a separate segment for us for that as well too. So stay tuned for that. Just reach out to me as well too. If you don't see the Google form, you can just reach out to me and ask, you know, how to get on the pod, whatnot, do. But yeah, the space is for creative individuals or just people. Period. Like the space is for the space is to go deeper into who you are. You know, they talk about the self. You know, existence, mortality. Also, just kind of just shit going on in life and just to conversate. You know, it's called Self is Infinite. It's not just this spiritual podcast. You know, it's talk about everything because life is so endless, and more so the aspect of just the self being so endless and so many different aspects of who we are each and every day, and just kind of going into that. You know, who are you today? You know, who are you as a whole? What is your whole idea on this? Because there is no right or wrong answer. You know, that's why there's so many fucking philosophers and so many theories based upon life, and so many religions, so many different faiths. You know, and so many different individuals on this world, so we can all experience. Maybe so God can experience himself through different parts. I don't know, his endless self, or I don't know. It's kind of like selfish or kind of crazy. I don't know. Anyways, I've been feeling a little crazy lately. A little all over the place, a little overwhelmed, a little underwhelmed, a little motivated, a little unmotivated. Just like a big contradiction, and sometimes a lot of time I do feel like a big contradiction, especially when like I talk about my bias podcast with Kai. Um, we went into like how you gotta be delusional to get to the places you want to be, to not go fucking crazy within this crazy ass world, to kind of just be who you are, you know, without people telling you otherwise, you know. And I feel like within that as well too, you can find yourself kind of lost within that, you know. When you're trying to get to a certain point, you know, or you're starting out to be this or that, you're trying to manifest, you gotta hold on to that belief, that idea, you know, that feeling to kind of get to that point. You know, you gotta embrace who you are, you know, what you believe to be. You know, you gotta embrace your identity, which you identify as, and not let anybody break that. You know, um, also like there's like this imposter syndrome, this like imposterness that you feel within that sometimes. You know, like you may be trying to be the best. Ooh, what the fuck, y'all? Pull my damn piercing out. Ooh, you may be saw not to be the best artist, and you may even believe you're the best artist to a good degree, but then you see some art that's just so fucking extravagant, so beautiful. You're like, damn, I'm not. But I feel like that's the point where we still have to believe in ourselves because there's so much beautiful art. There's so many different beautiful things in this world, or people that are already doing the things that we want to do, or things of that nature. And I feel like it's important to stay true to yourself, you know, and your own idea because only you know what you're trying to really do. You know, only you know where you're trying to really go. And even if you see somebody else doing something that you want to do, it's not really that's not exactly what you want to do. Like you can do more than that, or it's not. It may be perfect or in your mind, or I feel like you just gotta stay true to yourself, you know, and true to your vision, and trust in your idea and your belief, and put in the work to kind of add clarity to that. You know, clear that idea or belief. I feel like we kind of it's easy to kind of push an unfinished thought or leave an unfinished thought alone or stop doing something because somebody's doing it. Like I said, I got a couple of ideas. Like people are doing it, but am I just not going to do it? No, I want to still create my idea. Like there's a billion people doing podcasts. You think that stopped me from doing a podcast? I mean, I live in Atlanta, where everybody wants to do this. Everybody wants to do this. Everybody is doing the same shit. It's not on purpose. Maybe it is on purpose. Some people maybe just want to copy other people, but I feel like just because everybody is doing the same thing doesn't mean that should stop you from doing what you want to do. There's a reason that you wanted to do it. feel like it's different if you were swayed by what everybody else is doing or what it seems cool right now, such as like the fashion trends. Oh my God, I went in the fucking Ponce the other day. I seen a nigga pull up with Tim's and the diamonds on the shorts. Look to my right. There's another nigga with the same exact shit on. They don't even know each other. That shit is what blows me. Why are we, come on. What's up with that? That's the shit that kind of blows me. But if I'm trying to be a part of something, I want to feel a part of this group or the community, and I do something that everybody's doing to a degree. Okay, cool, but I'm gonna add my own swag to it. I'm not just going to copy verbatim what somebody else is doing or just doing something because everybody think it's cool. I gotta think it's cool too, but also I don't need to just copy it. I don't need to just do it because everybody's doing it. Like, let me add something to this. Let me add to the culture instead of just trying to chase the culture or trying to chase this or that. Let me actually be a part of it and assert something worth giving a part of it. Let me actually be a little creative with it. Like even now, like everybody wants to be creative. Everybody thinks everybody is creatives, and yes, we are all creative. Yes, we're all creative. Duh, yeah. But I think the label as I'm a creative, that's getting played out as well too. Just like for me, when I hear people saying, "Oh, I'm spiritual," like a lot of like the labels. Me personally, I just don't do well with labels. But I feel like when you just label yourself this or that, that's all people look at you as. And I think I mentioned that before. But also, we are all these things. I am a creator. I'm a psychologist. I work a job. I do that, and yeah, we are all those things. But I feel like it's more just don't limit yourself, or just don't limit yourself to just that. Don't just identify as just that, because, like I said, like I believe we're all endless individuals. Self is fucking infinite, and I'm much more than just a creative. I'm a spiritual infinite being. I'm a spiritual conscious within this fucking realm doing creative shit because that's what I was taught and born to do. It's what was ingrained within me from my ancestors and from the God within me. So more so just embracing that God within us. And I think that's the creative aspect, is embracing the God within us. That's creative as fuck. Just doing shit because we feel it with our intuition, or doing it because we've been told, or, not just told, but like I feel like that's cool. I feel like it's cool doing things that just draw our attention that we desire is very cool, and embracing the parts within us, the ideas that we have. That's really creative. That's cool. Not just posting a TikTok, or I feel like kind of just I don't know, doing shit everybody else is doing, or get ready with me, or I don't know, some of that shit cool, but to a degree, it's not that creative. And a lot of shit that I do, like, I feel like I could be doing to a larger extent, and that's why I'm kind of hesitant to share a lot of my work, because like I see people doing a lot of real creative shit. There's a lot of videographers and artists and a lot of talents that I see within Atlanta. They're doing some really cool shit, and sometimes it does stray me away from trying to be a part of that, or like wanting to push some of my own shit because it's not as good as what they're doing. But also, I have to remember where I am and remember my own vision and remember what the things that I want to share. And I have to validate myself. I recently did, not recently, but I did a like really creative project for my birthday, and I really wanted to do it, and I've been thinking about doing something really creative like that, and it came out to be really perfect and it embodied everything I wanted it to be. But because I validated myself and I didn't look at anybody else, I found my own inspiration um, within myself. But also, I found like a little some shit on Pinterest that I used to kind of help me inspire me. But I didn't look at anything everybody else was doing. And I think it's kind of scary when we just, or it's kind of very what's the word? Damn, I can't think of the word. It's the perfect word for it, but it kind of like puts you down when you kind of just see everybody else doing it. You're just watching everybody else doing this shit when you could be doing it yourself. You could be embracing your own light. So I think more is so important, that the most important thing today, I guess, I want to give to y'all is embrace your light and embrace your infinite self. And that's kind of going to be the whole basis of this always. Spread that light that you have, unveil that radiance. Shine the light around you, be the light in the room, and shine on others so everybody else can feel it and they can be the light too. It's important to shine the light. It's important to be ourselves so other people can be themselves, so they can embrace who they are. So Stop trying to be other people, man. Stop trying to copy everybody's shit, man. And you don't gotta be so different either. Use Virgil fucking rule, nigga. The 1% rule, man. Change that shit just a little bit, man. Change it a little bit. You know, if you like you, don't copy though. Don't be a copier. You know, be a little creative, bro. So yeah, I've been rambling, talking, just going all over the place for like an hour, half an hour now. I've been here for too long. Probably been too damn long. I'm gonna record like an hour, so I'm probably gonna get off here in a second. Just being real with y'all. But maybe I should mention some other things too going on crazy in the world. Oh, there was just I grew up in Marietta. Marietta. And I used to go to fucking I played Farrell's fucking basketball team. And I just recently heard that there was a young boy, young black man that was found dead tied to a tree. Within I forgot the street, but over there by Fair Oaks. And there's not. I go to myself to go look it up the day of, and I didn't, or not the day of, like a day or two later. And I didn't see much on it, you know. And it makes me just think about how much stuff is there. And it seems like they're trying to brush it under the rug, but it makes me think about how much stuff is just pushed under the rug, and how often these things are still happening. Because if you think we're not that far from slavery, we're not that far from segregation. That didn't happen that long ago. How often are things just being swept under the rug? You know, how often are we just putting things to just he just committed suicide? You know, or that just happened, or it's whatever. Like, it gets to a point where it's like, no, we can't just accept that. I see if they're doing a protest or doing a rally for the young man. He went to Georgia State, YDSAT. I forgot what it stands for. One of the groups at Georgia State, they're doing like a rally for him because they can't let this go, just go under the rug. And I think we need more of that. We need more fighting for our people and our loved ones. Just because somebody's dead does not mean we just forget about them. Point blank. We gotta remember our people and embrace our ancestors, embrace those before us that have done amazing things, and keep their name, keep their light shining. Just because people are dead does not mean it's over. No. Look at people like MLK. Look at people like Gandhi. Look at people like Dr. Sabi. Look at people like goddamn Malcolm X. All these people names are still alive and brave and vibrant because of the work that they done and the touch that they put on the world around us. We can't just let these people just get swept under the rug that have been done wrong or didn't have a chance to grow into what they wanted to do. There's so many young people that I know that have died or that things that happen. Like, there's so much shit that just gets pushed at just, oh, whatever, you know. And I think these people deserve that clarity. Parents deserve that clarity, you know, to know what has happened to their children. Like, that parent that just found their child, heard the child was hanging, they want to know what the fuck happened to their kid. Why is their kid hanging from a tree? Like, dead ass. Like, for real. So I think it's important that we do show up for each other. You know, we do go to protests, you know, especially with the times right now, that we continue fighting for each other. You know, we continue showing up for each other, you know, in the ways that we see fit. It doesn't mean just going to protests every day or having to be in the front of the lines, but maybe that's bettering yourself so you can be there for your peers. Maybe that's forming groups within your communities, you know, for people that don't have a voice or for people that need people to be around or they just need like-minded minds, you know, just doing something that we see fit because we always want to go to the largest scale of change, but change starts on the smallest scale. Change starts within our communities. Change starts within our closest circles. Change starts within ourselves. And if we aren't changing ourselves, then how the fuck are we even making any type of difference? I don't think my shit is recording, y'all. Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. If we're not changing ourselves, then we can't change anybody else. We already can't control anybody else. But if I'm not even changing my own situation from the aspect simple as me changing my own fucking diet, me changing my thoughts that I've been nurtured into and start nurturing the ideas or nurturing the challenged beliefs of what has been challenged from the European fucking aspect of the European fucking mind that's been fucking blistered onto my life. Until I start changing myself, my mind, my diet, the way I think, the way I care for people, the fucking empathy I have, then I don't need to be thinking about change. If I don't have empathy for the next person, then you don't need to be thinking about change. You need to start trying to tweak your own mind a little bit. You know, or maybe you don't care about change. Maybe you're just shitty and just want to eat, drink, be merry. Because some people are out there like that. But I think it's important that we all, in our own ways, try to be a part of some sort of change, because the world is very fucking crazy right now, and it has been crazy for the last fucking 20, 30, 40, 50 fucking years. European influence has been well in effect, and it's not just Trump. It's not just something new that's been going on. This has been going on for decades and 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 decades. European influence is well alive within the world around us, in other countries. Shit, I had people in other South America call me nigga, just from looking at me constantly many times, just from European influence, man. Until we change ourselves, change our own mind, we won't be able to create any change. Once we start learning more about ourselves and how infinite ourself can be, how much more we can pour into ourselves, how intelligent and beautiful and amazing we are as individuals. And until we pour into that and start learning about ourselves and learning why we do the things we do, learning why we think the way we think, learning why we eat the way we eat, learning these things about ourselves and our ancestors and people before us, I don't think we can't look forward without looking in the past. If you want to say just move on, no, we gotta acknowledge the past first before we can go anywhere forward. So I challenge you today, or sometime this week, sometime this month, to just ask yourself, who am I? What am I doing? What changes do I want to become the person that I'm longing to be? What is it going to take for me to get to that next step in my life? What is it going to take for me to love myself a little more? What does it take for me to stop fearing myself? And what is it going to take for me to have the courage to step into the person I'm longing to be? What is it going to take for me to have the courage to be there for my mother, to be there for my family, to stop working this 9 to 5? What is it going to take for you? Dig deep and answer that. Answer that question, because nobody's going to answer it for you. Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to fucking. Jesus is not coming to save you. He's not. No matter how hard you read that Bible, no matter how hard we fucking have this faith, we have to have that faith in self first. Without faith in self first, we're not going anywhere. We cannot go anywhere if I don't believe in myself. Point blank, period. If I don't believe myself, then how can somebody believe in me? People support you when they see you putting in work. They don't support you when behind closed doors. They're not going. People not going to support you when you just sitting there wishing for help, or wishing somebody would come and help you. No, people help you when they see you helping yourself. So I think it's really important that we start putting in the work to help ourselves, so then we can help others as well too. Because a lot of people need help out here, but it starts with the work ourselves, and that may be going to get a therapist. That it takes courage. That's real work to want to help and to start helping yourself. Or maybe I need to ask myself some of these questions. I need to pick up my little journal and start writing in it. Who am I? What are some of the habits I'm trying to change? Just certain things, that you want better about yourself, or just that you want to know, or questions that you have, all these conspiracies, all these theories. There's so much in this world, because the world is infinite, self is infinite. Point blank. And without exploring that self, then we will forever be stuck in a white man's world. We will forever be stuck in the system where the system wants us to be. And we will never get to flourish into the infinite beings that we are. We will never get to explore the world around us. We will never get to have our or partake in our due diligence within this art. We will never have to. We will never have the. We will never have the chance to partake in our birthright, which is to live. We weren't born just to work. We weren't born just to be a part of this system. We were born to experience this life and experiencing ourselves on a very intimate and infinite level. So yeah, please y'all just go take a trip. Go take you a trip sometime sooner than later. Go take that trip. Go on the adventure because you need it. Life gets you get tired of modernity. You get tired of the modernism every day of this modern life. We need to adventure. We need to explore, not but also not getting caught up in the tourist lifestyle or getting caught up in trying to chase authentic experiences. Because when we go to these other places, we don't get these authentic experiences that we're looking for. More so, it's fabricated and fake for the tourists to come, for the tourists to enjoy, to feel like they're a part of something that's authentic. So more so just travel and lead with your intuition and be true to what you really want from these places that you're going, for what you want from life, period. So that's my 2 cents today. I ain't trying to preach or nothing, but just kind of some thoughts on my mind. Because when I get to saying shit on my notes and shit, I get to just feeling a little fake and whatnot. Um, so yeah, sorry y'all. Sorry if I was all over the place today. Sorry, not sorry. This is the space for me to kind of just speak my mind, share my thoughts, and I hope you can come share your thoughts with me as well too. Um, but yeah, thank y'all for tuning in today to the Self-Infinite Podcast. This is episode 4, I believe. And I'll see y'all next Sunday. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Peace.